You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills After Show.
I love some Justin Bieber Baby for holiday season. Welcome to Beverly Hills episode 8. We have the She Hears You, She Hears You Not episode. We played Baby because it starts off with the heartstrings of us. We were so invested in Brandi trying to find Chica, her little baby. So we start off this episode and we see that they're trying to find the dog and go through the steps of her trying to, you know, go through with her promise to her little men and finding Chica. What did you think about Brandi showing so much sensitivity? We see her, she's such a strong woman and always speaks her mind, and she can be a little abrasive, but with the dog we're really seeing the side of her that's just this nurturer to these animals.
Yeah, I think she really just wants to find the dog for her kids, and I think it just shows what a good mom she is. She really wants to find this dog. She doesn't want to hurt her kids anymore. They've lost a lot of people in her life. Brandi said they don't have their parents together anymore. They rely on these dogs, and it's sad, and she puts in so much effort to find what seems to find the dog and putting up the posters, and I thought it was really sad that the old lady takes them down
from the HOA.
I think that's just awful.
People either hate or love the HOAs.
It's someone in her neighborhood that just took them down because it didn't follow the rules.
Yeah.
And it's just like, really?
I think she must live in some sort of gated community or something, and they're really strict about things like that. But I think, if it was like how we're selling our furniture, come to our yard sale, that's one thing. But looking for an animal is a whole other thing. And I really felt for her because I can see that she's going through the motions, and then she kind of admits, I feel like, a coyote probably got the dog. So I don't know. Brandi's been so controversial lately, and she's been having a lot going on, but for someone like me that has a dog and is such a dog lover, the idea of that happening is so heart-shattering that I really identify with her and I connect with her in this part of the episode.
No, totally. It's such, the dog's like a baby. It really is, and part of the family. To imagine that they're cold, alone, they're not at home, that's just so heartbreaking. And if the dog did get eaten by a coyote, that's just horrible, so horrible to think of. And it's just it's so sad. But it is, you have to come to a realization at some point that I don't know how long it was between the dog going missing, going missing, and them putting up the banners. But it's just sad. It's really sad. And it is sad to to come to that realization that maybe she's gone. That's awful. That's
I think it's something that's interesting with people like Brandi and Kim, who are constantly surrounded by couples, and we see so many couple gatherings. For them, the leading men, so to speak, have become the animals, and I think Kim really touched on it when she said, when I got out of rehab and I needed a purpose and I needed a best friend that I could talk to at night. She's talking about how she's in the bed and talking to the dog. So for her, Kingsley's become this leading character.
Is that person? Yeah,
all of Kim's scenes that aren't with the ladies, it's her and the dog. I kind of identify with that. I mean, you go through periods of time where, your life fluctuates, you move, things happen. She went to rehab. And for her, the consistent thing has been the dog. And I think with Brandi and everything with Eddie and Leanne and the divorce, for her children are, there, and then they're not, and then she has the dogs whenever it's visitation.
Exactly. And I thought it was really cool when Brandi said, because Kim, Mauricio, Portia, and Kim all went to help put the signs up for the dogs, and when Brandi said, forget all the petty bullshit. When it comes down to it, we're all there for each other. We're all here for each other, and we will be there for each other. And I thought it really showed. I mean, Mauricio and Portia went. That wasn't necessary. They didn't have to.
Yeah.
But they did, to show support. And I thought that showed a lot of character for them, that they put all the differences aside and they were like, no, we're going to help you. And they were the two in, when they were away, that kind of were worried about Brandi. Like, obviously, Lisa and Yolanda had already left by that point, hadn't they?
Yeah, they flew the coop early.
Yeah.
They got out of Palm Springs after one night.
But Kim and Kyle genuinely seemed to relate and feel bad for Brandi, and I thought it was cool then that they were the ones that were helping her.
Well, I think it was interesting. We were a little surprised Mauricio came along, but I thought it was nice. It was showing that they're a family and they're united and they're going to do things. And I'm sure that Kyle is very smart with so many rumors going on. I think it's important to show a united front and do a lot of family things.
Definitely.
And I love Mauricio and I love Kyle, and I think they're just the greatest. And some people think that they're obnoxious or, they get tired of Kyle, but consistently I love her. And I thought it was interesting because they, to me, never really throw in your face, like, we're happy we have each other. I mean, some people might disagree with me saying that because they are, like, very lovey-dovey, but we finally see a real sit-down. We're going to move into Joy with her husband, or Joyce. Joyce with her husband. And
getting like Brandi, calling in different names.
I know. Well, Joy is very close.
I'm joking.
And she's very joyful. So, finally we see a sit-down, and for me, the first thing that really came out of her mouth was, romance comes natural with us. If you love each other, you don't need to work on it, which I was kind of rubbed me the wrong way. What did you think about that?
I just think that's kind of a strange statement. I mean, every relationship, it takes work to make something, to make a relationship work. Like, you have to work on things. Not every part of that relationship can be rosy and bright all the time. There must have been some times when things got tough. I don't know. I think that's a weird thing to say. I do think it's a strange thing to say. They do seem, to me, they don't seem completely head over heels in love because they're not all over each other. And I'm not saying that shows that you're head over heels in love. But most of the time, couples like that are over the top, touchy-feely, lovey-dovey.
Well, she said our chemistry, and then I'm sitting there, and I'm like, where's the chemistry?
And you said when we were watching, does he talk at dinner? And it's probably, and it was probably editing, like they were showing Joyce talk a lot. But it's true. There was no hand touching over the table. There just seemed to be the only kind of thing that we saw was at the very end when they were in the limo, and Joyce was leaning on him, and a little bit while the music was playing, but all the couples were kind of buddy-buddy.
Yeah.
But there was no like nice romantic kiss or nothing.
And maybe they keep that for off camera, but something just really bothers me about somebody that's in a couple, and Joyce brought up a couple times that her tension with Brandi might be that Brandi's jealous that she doesn't have a baby or a man, and that she has an ugly personality, and maybe if she had a better personality, she would have a man. I just feel like the old saying that, it's you're jealous of my man, or that I'm in an amazing relationship that doesn't take any work. It's just kind of a cheap shot because, Brandi did get very publicly cheated on and went through a very public divorce, and who knows what goes on behind closed doors. But if you're a single mom and you're at a dinner party with a whole bunch of couples, and you left your children at home or whatever it was to go be with your friends, and it's getting thrown in your face that, I mean, I guess to Joyce's defense, she didn't say it to her face, but it will come out as we see next week.
Completely.
But I just feel like they're on this high horse of like, we're this amazing couple, we don't work at it, and like people that don't like us, it's because they're jealous of our relationship. I just think it's bothersome.
No, I agree. I think it's kind of strange, and the fact that Brandi's going through a tough time with the dog, that's kind of her baby. Baby. Oh my gosh, I hate when people call their boyfriend's baby. And that was all Joyce. He's my baby. And he seemed, by the way, her husband seemed so reluctant to say. He said, where did I write it? it was something like he agreed it's fine that she calls me baby, but it was just a strange, I can't remember, I don't know where I wrote it, but it was just a strange remark when Brandi said, "Are you a man or are you a baby?" Mm-hmm. He was very reluctant to say, "I'm her baby." It didn't seem very, I like being called baby kind of answer.
I mean, I wonder if he
to me, that's what it seemed like to me. That's totally what it seems like.
Right.
And
he doesn't talk.
Yeah, it seems like she kind of wears the pants in the relationship. She's the one that, and I do kind of like Joyce, but I think it's a cheap shot. I agree with you. I think it's a total cheap shot to go on the boyfriend-husband remark with Brandi.
And I don't know. It is a cheap shot, but at the same time, if someone's been nasty to you and made a racist comment, you don't need to go out of your way necessarily to make them feel welcome. And I think for her, that was her way of saying, well, I'm happily married, I have a man, and you don't. So, I got the last laugh. And,
no, totally. I don't know why Brandi has such a vendetta against Joyce. She just doesn't like her. Every single comment that comes out, and then we see for next week, it's like, Brandi just hates her, and I don't understand. I would love to, I'm sure we'll find out something at the reunion. What's, why? Why does Brandi hate her so much?
Well, I think
I'm really excited for the reunion.
It was interesting because we can go into Carlton a little bit because we have Joyce and Carlton, the two new ladies, and Brandi really seemed to just pick a side. She just went with one of the ladies, and that was her new girl.
The dream team.
And she, brought her into her team, and that was on her side. And maybe it's because Carlton is quite into some of the things that Brandi loves in the bedroom with their boudoir private room that Carlton... So the nanny and Carlton go into this room, and they're making plans. Are they alluding to the fact that they've had a threesome with her husband?
Definitely.
Okay.
Totally. That was the only thing. As soon as they were talking, she was like, there's only going to be one other viewer in this room, or maybe two if you're lucky. And the way their relationship is, and she said she wants to have a beautiful nanny for her children before, and it's kind of strange. It's a very interesting, weird dynamic because, the nanny is beautiful. And my question is, if they have had a threesome or something, or even just Carlton and the nanny, it was Elisa, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Eliza. If they've had relations...
Very proper. They had relations.
And the husband knows, or if the husband was involved. How is that awkward? Obviously not between Carlton and her, but if the husband was involved, how does that work in the house? And
maybe it's an open relationship.
Yeah, maybe I could see that.
Okay.
I could see that with Carlton.
When she called in, said that she loves ladies, and Ashley. Oh, by the way, Ashley Daniels is out of town. Our other host. So she said, I'm attracted to women if a woman is around, and I feel more or less if I want to kiss her, I kiss her. She said something along those lines. But
there's a difference between kissing and then.
There is, but I think if it was a guy, if you're have a husband and you're making out with other men because you have the urge to, is that how, it's hard because, okay, for some husbands, they get insanely jealous, but if it's a woman and you want to kiss other women, obviously it's not a source of contention for their relationship because they're talking about it, except Carlton in Palm Springs did say, look, I'm private about it, If we're going to kiss, you don't need to go tell all the women.
And it's up to me who I tell.
Right.
If I want people to know. Yeah. I was like, damn.
So it's interesting because I don't think most husbands would be that into their women kissing other men unless it's okay for them to do that with other women.
Exactly,
but somehow it's okay. So I'm curious how Carlton...
But we don't know if it's other men.
Right. I think it's other women.
Yeah, other women. So, maybe her husband joins in. And
I'm curious what other audience of this show and fans think. I would love if you guys would tell us, because we were chatting about it and we're trying to figure out her dynamic, and I think she is very mysterious, which keeps everyone very into it. But you guys should tweet us and leave us comments and check us out on iTunes and tell your friends. We want to get the conversation going. I'm loving all the comments. There's so much interaction online, which makes it a million times more fun because we get to talk and then think of other things. So give us 5 stars if you feel so inclined to. Rate us and let us know what you're liking and you're loving and hating, whatever it is. Just talk to us, chat with us. So let's take this into the dinner party. And this is where it was kind of fun. It started out.
It was more of a tamed down dinner party than a lot of others. And apparently next week's, I thought, I don't know, it wasn't as dramatic as it could have been.
Yes, it seemed pretty tame to me for what I was anticipating. But maybe that's because, last episode, the preview was basically just a bunch of things spliced together of Brandi saying mean things. So I was like, oh, Brandi's going to be a lot bigger. And then she was pretty mellow for Brandyville. But I do love watching Yolanda plan a party. I think she's like the million times hotter Martha Stewart. There's something about her that screams domesticated. She, remember last season, it's just her in the garden all the time.
Yeah. And she loves her flowers.
She loves her flowers. Who loves flowers more, her or Lisa?
Her, for sure.
Okay.
Because I think Lisa likes more, and Yolanda said, there's some people that spend a lot of money in shoes in Beverly Hills. I spend a lot of money on flowers, and I feel like Lisa's kind of can spend it on shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Yolanda, we've seen her closet, definitely spends money on shoes. But apparently she can spend, I think it was $8,000 on flowers. That's a lot of flowers.
Is that for like a year budget, or what was that?
I don't even know. I think she just said I can spend a lot of money on, like it was a large amount of money on flowers. But then when you're getting orchids and like
roses.
Yeah. Like nice high-end flower, and you get a huge bunch. Flowers, they can be expensive.
You know what I love? I love when hostess have flowers for their party, and then kind of as like a thank you for coming party and gift, they, give a little mini bouquet. I've had a couple friends do that, and it was so nice.
Really?
They had like really beautiful.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I've been to a dinner party.
More for like baby showers and engagement parties, and where there's tons of flowers everywhere, and they're like, "Oh, take one." I think that's always so nice.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So I love that we got to see her picking out the flowers, doing the preparation, which she says that's just half the fun for her, is getting to make all the choices for the table and how she picks it. And she's in the midst of getting ready, and we get a call from Carlton. Was it 6:45? It seemed like the dinner party started 7-ish, 7:30, whatever it was. We get a call.
At 6:45, she was still in her dressing gown, so it probably wasn't 7.
Her hair was dressed.
True.
I think it was 6:45, because I thought it was interesting that David Foster is so inclined to comment on what he thinks is appropriate and not appropriate.
In the confessional to talk about.
But basically, so Carlton calls, in my opinion, a little last minute and tells Yolanda that she is sick and cannot come to her dinner party. I thought it was way too last minute and was rude, and I was thinking maybe if you're sick, call it like 12, because it gives ample time to redo the table, redo the arrangements. People like Yolanda love scheduling
everything to
be planned out, and calling 15-30 minutes, I think, before the party started, if I'm correct, is inappropriate to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I do see that side of it, but I also see the side that Yolanda's immune system is super low.
Right.
And
the Lyme disease.
Yeah, exactly. And Carlton doesn't want to go and even if she just has a cold or cough, whatever, and risk getting Yolanda sick. So, yeah, it was probably a little bit too late. But maybe she was thinking at 12, well, by tonight, if I take an emergency, some Advil, I might be feeling better.
Yeah.
So, playing devil's advocate.
I get that. I mean, sometimes
But I do think that she was being... I think it would have been wrong if she'd have gone when she's sick and risked Yolanda's health.
I do get, sometimes if you have a head cold or sinuses, like the last thing you can imagine is having to sit up for 2 or 3 hours with like lights and talking and laughter. Like your senses are so heightened when you're not feeling well that like talking too loud, it's just like, ugh, like you just feel like you need a rest. So I get that. What I thought was interesting though was that they replaced her seat with Gigi. So they only had one seat to fill. So Carlton was coming alone without her husband. And I was curious, where is her husband? It seems
that's true. Has he ever been shown?
Very briefly in one of the intro episodes, we saw him trampolining with the children for like 30 seconds. But I'm curious, if she's not feeling well, then obviously her husband's not going to go without her. But this would have been the perfect opportunity if she was really planning on going to have her
Joyce
husband there with Mauricio and Kyle, the husbands, to really get everyone to hang out. So if we get to the end of this whole season and we never see Carlton's husband, I'll think that's very odd.
Maybe he doesn't want to be involved. We'll have to look and see who her husband is. But maybe because she talks about all the female attention, like she loves the females and Brandi. I don't know, maybe he just doesn't want his face shown on the camera. And for people to,
I would have loved her husband to be there with Brandi, because Brandi has such a big mouth. To hear Brandi be like, oh, I love that one day I made out with your wife in the hot tub at your house while you weren't home. Like, I could see Brandi just, like, saying very insensitive and inappropriate
I'm sure
things.
her husband knows.
Yeah.
I feel like Carlton's not the kind of person to hide things. That's one thing.
She'd be really stupid to hide it and then have it on reality show for him to watch
and that's
later.
Another thing, Yeah, for sure. But I just thought the way that Yolanda, getting back to Carlton being sick, Yolanda went on and on about it. And then David spoke about it. It's like, okay, Carlton's sick, just leave it. And I feel like this is the problem with the Housewives is it's all, I have to tell you, and then I have to tell you, and then I have to tell you, and I have to do it all separately. It's like, okay, we get it. Like, we get it. She's sick. She's not coming. She canceled. And Lisa was very like, done. Yeah. End of conversation.
All right, good deal.
And it's like, just stop talking about it.
Maybe
like, let somebody
ask. To like nip it in the butt so that she doesn't have to answer 5, 6, 7 different times. Like, where's Carlton? Why is Carlton not here? And then
but she said it 6, 7 different times.
That is true.
She said it to everyone individually. So even if they'd asked, she just said it the same amount of times. I don't know. I just thought it's like, okay, just stop. Just don't say it anymore.
If someone rubs you the wrong way and you get the opportunity to like talk with someone and just be like, hey, like kind of like say what happened without asking why or what or where or how, just to get a reaction. But she didn't get any reactions. People were like, oh, she's not feeling well. That makes sense because you're ill too. So your levels are lower.
So
but
she says it to someone else to try and get her. Oh, that was really bitchy that she didn't come and canceled. Like, I don't know. Is that the reaction she wanted? Like, what was she looking for every time she told? I don't know.
Well, okay.
I just thought it was kind of...
Yolanda. She is a gracious, beautiful host, and the aspect that she plans and just presents this gorgeous oasis of food and wine and flowers. But having people over for the place cards, because this seemed to be a really big thing for Kyle. She kept repeating the place cards. If you have someone over to your home, you don't so-and-so pick favorites and write hearts next to the people that you love. And then...
Yeah. To say how much money she spent on this dinner party, then she wrote the name tags. Personally, I think that was totally staged by the producers. Okay. And it was the heart. Like, some people got a heart, some people didn't. To me, it just seemed she'd spent so much money on this dinner party, and then she's going to write these name tags and add a heart on some people's. And then Kyle notices, oh, you got a love heart and I didn't.
It just leaves people
it just
out.
all seemed, to me, it just all seemed so planned that, okay, Kyle, ask now. To me, I don't know.
That's just because a point.
It was just all the conversation was. Oh, so you got a love heart, Lisa. You got a love heart, Brandi.
Do you think the producers told Yolanda to do that?
Maybe Yolanda didn't make them. Maybe the producers made them.
I cannot imagine that Yolanda would plan this beautiful party and then just take these tiny pieces of paper and like sloppily write out the name. It just did not go with the rest of the theme. So,
but that's why I don't think Yolanda did. I think it was, and that's why I think it was staged because that's not really her style. After spending so much money, I just don't think and then she would write a love heart. Then she would draw a love heart on some people's. I don't know. Just to me, it just seemed too much. And then as soon as they sat down, Kyle noticed I mean, if I sat down at a table, I don't think I would notice that some have love hearts and some don't. Personally.
She was looking for something to go for,
exactly.
Sure. Yeah, that's true.
So has she been told to look at the note? I don't know. I'm just totally... But that's just my thought. Because it just seemed too convenient. And then the whole conversation... Oh, I didn't write, I didn't do that. Like, what? It was just very...
It gave Yolanda the opportunity to talk about dream teams, but I thought it was funny because Brandi took a little dig of Joyce towards Gigi when she says to Yolanda's daughter that Joyce is jealous of her. There's, like, new, hotter, younger woman in the room. It's funny because if we're going to talk about teams and alliances, the fact that Brandi would try to say something towards Yolanda's daughter when they're, a team on one side to, like, have her daughter, get away from Joyce. I think talking to, like, a teenage girl and, like, telling her that, like, an older woman's jealous of her is just kind of, like, an odd thing to do.
I get the feeling that Brandi and Gigi have a relationship. Because the fact when David was addressing Gigi being at the table, she said it's never boring when Brandi's around. So I get the feeling that they've hung out when Brandi's been at the house. And I feel like they were probably, because they were sat together, there was no one else around when Brandi said that to Gigi. So personally, I just think that they have that kind of relationship where they can maybe say things like that and they have a joking relationship. Yeah, Brandi was talking like she was 17. It's like little kid gossip.
Yeah, definitely
little kid gossip. But I feel like they do have a relationship where they probably talk about stuff like that. I don't know. That was just because of the way Gigi said, oh, yeah, it's never boring when Brandi's around. I was like, oh, so you guys are friends because... You know that, It
was mellow. We had that, and then they go into the piano, which, from last season when Taylor and all of them were told to be quiet and not talk. I thought this was just very relaxing, and it ended on a good note. They go home in the cars, and that's where we wrapped up. So
just the part where Brandi was calling Joyce out when Joyce was speaking Spanish.
Right, yeah.
And Brandi was getting those little digs in. Mm-hmm. Brandi probably should lay off the wine a little bit. She is kind of gulping away at those dinners.
Maybe if I, were single at this, like, group dinner parties and I was bored and didn't have... It's fun when you have, like, your best friend next to you and you're chatting and, like, just... It's fun.
Spice it up with a bottle of wine.
Let's get into some predictions because it ended this...
and now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, we're going to see another fight between Brandi and Joyce. Another.
This one seems nasty, though, right?
But last week's kind of did, the previews for this week kind of seemed kind of, like you mentioned, it seemed like it was going to be feisty.
And then it wasn't.
But hopefully something, just a little bit more, and just hash it out.
I love it, though, because I want to just predict that Joyce is going to show her genuine self, not the part that's trying to just remain Switzerland neutral to everybody and not say the wrong thing. She finally stands up for herself. I mean, Brandi said a really insensitive thing to her. It affected her emotionally. It was something against her culture, who she is. And she says straight to Brandi's face, I think you're a racist. And this is something that she hasn't really gotten the opportunity to do. It's been like floating. She says stuff in the testimonials, but to just sit down and say what you said was wrong, I think was important.
And I think that's needed. Yeah, I totally think that needs to be addressed, and good for Joyce for saying that. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm excited to see if anyone fits in any of Kyle's dresses. Who's it? Joyce and Brandi. So they do need a cheeseburger.
Yeah, they
go to In-N-Out, get some get some food. And the race car driving.
The race car driving looks fun.
Let them head out. I've always wanted to do that. It looks cool.
Yeah.
I've never done that. But yeah, Kim can let them see. I feel like her anxiety would be through the roof in a race car.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wonder why she did that.
I don't know. So where can we find you online?
Find me at Charlotte Broadbent on Twitter. Woo!
And I'm Cassidy Gard on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye guys. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Woo!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.